それは一体どういう。おい、いきなり何するんだよ。
しっかり反応できたじゃない。腕が鈍ったわけではないよね。
While I typically avoid the more popular fandoms, being the hipster that I am, it's strange to admit how much I enjoy Sword Art Online. I know it has its moments, but I can always count on the action and emotion to turn up to 11 in an epic fight. Anyway, one standout release in the series that many will tell you to play is Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet. Whether this is because this entry allowed you to create your own character, or because DIMS developed it, has always been up for debate. Well, that's until now, given that DIMS has returned to the series for Sword Art Online Fractured Daydream. However, this time around, this entry removed the option to create a character and added a game loop revolving around online play. Sword Art Online Fractured Daydream seemingly takes place after the events of Sword Art Online Last Recollection, as Kirito is on a quest in the VRMMORPG Alfheim Online with his friend Quinella. Now, this shocking pairing is soon revealed to be just a coincidence, as the two have found themselves trapped in Galexia, where they can reattempt old missions and relive memories. While they try to understand how they've become trapped in this world, they end up saving two characters who are under attack and finally get some answers. It appears they are in fact trapped in Galexia, but they aren't alone. Along with their small group, other characters from the SAO franchise are stuck in this world as well, including characters from Sword Art Online Alternative Gun Gale Online. The story does a relatively good job of making sense of all of this chaos by allowing some missions to not include Kirito, effectively giving players a perspective of the story he isn't the main character of. While Kirito is a prominent face in the story scenes, I feel like there's a nice balance of screen time with the other characters, even more so if you spend time in the character-specific missions and side missions. Sadly, similar to other SAO games, the story's final arc feels rushed and doesn't capitalize on some of the more interesting plot points. I would have enjoyed the final few missions to slow the pacing and adequately explain some of the story nuances before the final fight. As it stands, this game only has one job after the 13-hour story, and that's to get you right into the multiplayer for hours upon hours. Suppose you're picking up Fractured Daydream for the online content alone. In that case, this is sadly one of those games that you'll need to play through the entire story in order to unlock all the 21 playable characters and raise your player rank high enough to gain access to additional online missions and raids. While I enjoyed this aspect given that I mostly was interested in the original story, I know some players are only looking forward to the online gameplay. Here's the thing. If you don't like Sword Art Online but enjoy grind-heavy action games with a ton of loot and continuous rewards after each match, continue with this review, but only consider this game at a discount. On the other hand, if you love SAO, you'll probably have fun here no matter what. A few interesting aspects of these missions include the fact that there are optional things to do outside of the main objectives. These are scattered around the map and are required if you want to S-rank the mission. I will say that it was fun finding the secret bosses and optional objectives, but I wish they were displayed somehow on the map and not hidden as well as they were. This game is designed around swift matches, making running blind around the map looking for items slow down the pacing too much. Further, I wish there was an option to skip story scenes completely upon replays. It only skips a small portion right now, but an option to turn them off after you've seen them would be nice. As you progress through the story, you'll earn a decent pool of gear and raise your character ranks of the party to hit the ground running in the online modes. Sword Art Online Fractured Daydream is built with online gameplay in mind. You can accept co-op missions and raids once you unlock a few characters and world tiers. It's an interesting setup, but one that gets repetitive quickly. The co-op matches that take place across a map are divided into sections. There's an objective in each area where players will travel to a point on a map with a party of others. Now, opening the map at the beginning of a match allowed me to route the objectives more quickly given that there are a lot of branching paths. Similar to the results screens of the single-player mode, online missions are concluded with a ranking and items for appraisal. Missions also have a few rare cosmetics available as drops, but this game expects to be played, and sadly, there isn't enough content to justify the time investment and reward. The entire experience requires a bit of forgiveness from time to time. You begin to look past the thought that different classes wouldn't play the same, and while you do have access to elemental abilities and playstyles, everyone does play like an attacker either way. You don't mind the constant stuttering during travel as random objects stop you in your tracks. You begin to find it funny after the umpteenth time the strange lock-on system sends a character flying across a stage due to a misaimed ability. You don't mind your hands hurting a little after pressing square repeatedly and a few triangle presses here and there for hours. And lastly, you forgot that you've already played this mission well over 18 times already. Your only happiness is the fulfillment of that sweet, sweet explosion of rewards. The sensation of equipping epic gear that will likely be replaced in a few matches, and the forethought of knowing that as more content is added and more players find their way into Galaxia, you will be the strongest. At least I think that's what Bandai Namco was hoping for. Listen, what's here is fun. The game loop isn't anything special as it borrows from other titles like Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, but unlike that game, the grind isn't worth it when there isn't enough content to satisfy the time investment. I'm sure Dimps has more maps and content on the way, but there should have been at least 60 hours of playtime here at launch. Less than a week after release, players have already risen well above rank level 45, and they seemingly run out of things to do. And even though the game allowed me to spend some quality time with Shinon, I too was stuck finding fun in the game loop after 20 hours. Given how repetitive the online mission structure becomes, you almost wish for automated systems to get you through the matches while you do literally anything else. Like maybe reread the SAO light novels or something. Now, I'm not saying the gameplay isn't fun though. In fact, this is one of the most fun SAO games I've played in a long time. I have enjoyed each character pool of the classes, aside from the support class. Yeah, sure, I'm a Leifa fan, but don't get me wrong. The support class in this game just isn't fun at all, and mainly ensures you'll be the weakest link in any party at any time. If there's a rebalancing of skills and base stats for any class in the future, I hope they find a way to make this class fun. When it comes to performance, Sword Art Online Fractured Daydream ran fine for me on PS5 with a few stutters during scenes and random disconnects that send me to the main menu. The enemy AI is ridiculous, but given the waves of mobs you'll be mowing through, you kind of appreciate their aloof attitude. I really enjoyed the graphics for the characters. They just stand out to me prominently on screen. Each character has a few different alternative costumes and even ones they can share amongst the other characters. This brings me to the premium cosmetics. There seems to be ways to achieve some premium currency through daily completed tasks and weekly quests and other in-game events, but you can bet you'll pay around $9.99 for each costume DLC set. I've paid more for bathing suit DLC, so they got me. That said, costumes were easier to get in other SAO titles, but I hope that there's a broader pool and variety of free cosmetics in this game. Sadly, the drop rate for the cosmetics as it is now is very low during matches. Sword Art Online Fractured Daydream is an SAO fan's dream and an action RPG fan's nightmare. While the rewards provide a nice dose of dopamine across each map, there's not enough content here to justify fans of online action games to invest themselves in. The story might hold you over for around 10 hours, but after that, you're looking at hours and hours of grinding across the same handful of maps and missions, completing uncreative daily quests and begging for something new. Still, the action gameplay is incredibly addictive, but the support needs to show up as fans did on day one to witness the cringy emotional drama of SAO. Noisy Pixel is giving Sword Art Online Fractured Daydream a 7 out of 10. Thanks for watching. This video is brought to you by your supporters on Patreon. Noisy Pixel is run by Corporate Gamers providing independent gaming coverage through news, reviews, previews, and more. Check out our Patreon to help support our continued growth and subscribe to keep up with all our future content.